Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today we are reacting to game theory how World of Warcraft almost prevented the coronavirus crisis. World of Warcraft by the game theory. So subscribe, like the video, hit that bell. Go to my second channel down below in the description where you can find Fortnite, NBA 2K20 and Minecraft videos. So if you want those videos, if you want to watch those videos, go there. Some videos also have face cam because I don't know how to put face cam on my PlayStation. Subscribe, like the videos, hit that bell on my second channel in the description down below. This link in the description also is my Twitch. Follow my Twitch because I've been streaming Fortnite lately. I've streamed Travis Scott's Fortnite concert and another Fortnite live stream. Down below in the description down below in the description is my Reddit. Post on there because I will react to it sometime. If there are actually posts, because if there are no posts, how am I gonna react to my own subreddit if there are no posts? Yeah, and go to my Discord if you want to chat, because people want to chat, while they're in home quarantine. So yeah, do all of those stuff right now, all of those stuff. Because if you don't, I'm gonna be very sad. I'm gonna be crying at midnight if you don't do all of those things. And if you don't do all of those things, you don't know how to follow directions, because those are directions. You need to follow them. So yeah, in 3, 2, 1, let's react. How World of Warcraft could have prevented the coronavirus crisis? What?
I have to say, in the last month, video games have been really stepping it up with those at-home activities to replace all the time we gamers can't be spending outside. Stuff like F&M at home and Halo Double XP during the outbreak are providing real alternatives.
I saw like PlayStation giving free games, I'm pretty sure. I saw PlayStation give free games. I don't really like those games, but for people that like those games, they're gonna have some fun with that. But yeah, I don't really like those games. I downloaded like Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty. I didn't know what was happening really. I don't know. Now that Ninja is playing Call of Duty and he's not playing Fortnite, now is my chance to be a Fortnite god. I'm gonna be better than Ninja.
For all those spring break activities that us gamers...
Because you can see my being a Fortnite god in the description down below on my second channel. Alright?
...are in
actual photo of gamers at beach during spring break. No one. Just no gamers out there.
Fortunately missing out on this year. Companies like Ubisoft giving away free games, it's really awesome. It's acting as a consolation for me not being able to see my IRL friends, not being able to spend time in those big in-person groups in public places, not going to restaurants and instead having to order in all the time and have meals delivered to my door. Oh, thank you video game companies for giving me all these tools to help me through such a difficult time in my social life. Yeah, we're not fooling anyone, you guys. The rest of the world is eventually gonna figure out that we've been living like this for years. Just don't let on yet. Maybe we can get a couple more free games out of it.
Yeah, because, there are always free games. We've been living like this since... gamers have been living like that. Gamers have always stayed inside. They were home quarantined before home quarantine became a thing. Gamers were the first people to recognize that, oh, we need to home quarantine because we're gamers. We're not gonna leave the house. Why are we gonna leave the house? Yeah, but I'm not a gamer. I'm leaving the house. I really want to leave the house, but I can't because of the crown virus, the crown situation. For you guys who don't know, corona in Spanish means crown, so I'm gonna call it crown. Yeah, the crown situation.
Internet, welcome to Game Theory, the show that's helping you to escape from the cruel reality of a global pandemic by talking about an alternate reality that also had a global pandemic. Helpful MatPat is helpful. Before today's episode though, a brief PSA to remind you that staying at home is the single best way to protect yourself.
This is like the US have 900,000 people with the crown thing. I'm not gonna say coronavirus. Oh, alright, I already said it, so that's not gonna just. I did this, like, the US have like 900,000 people infected with the coronavirus. It's crazy. I don't know. China stopped it. Really, they've stayed at 81,000 since like 2 weeks ago. So they've stopped it, but the US just keeps growing. Just freaking stay home, stop the spread. Be like Bane, wear a mask, but like, don't destroy Gotham. Jason.
And the people around you from
Cough
coronavirus.
into your
As of
elbow,
writing,
like, what? What did he say? What did he say?
that staying at home is the single best way to protect yourself and the people.
Cough into your elbow like a vampire in a cape. We can beat this. Yeah, we can, but then like Trump walk out of his coronavirus press conference. It's going badly for the U.S. Very badly. And the New York is like half of all coronavirus cases in the U.S. It's crazy. It seems like it's a nightmare, but it isn't. It isn't. Seems like it's not real, but it is. It is real.
Around you from coronavirus. As of writing this episode, more than 2 million people worldwide have been diagnosed with COVID-19, which is
2.5 million people after 5 days. It's gonna. Is it already at 3 million? Is it already at 3 million? It probably is because it's spreading fast, very very fast. I don't even know how the U.S. could contain 900,000 people in hospitals. It doesn't make sense, but they are? I don't know.
twice as contagious as the flu and 100 times more deadly. Unlike
100
pandemics our
times as
grandparents may have
deadly.
seen, like measles, it's almost impossible to tell if you have COVID because there are no marks, there are no little red bumps, and many people have zero symptoms, not just for days, but for weeks.
Yeah, some people are like asymptomatic, where you don't have any symptoms, but you do have the virus, so you don't even know. Maybe when the symptoms start to kick in, that's when people are going to the hospitals. But when they have no symptoms and they have the coronavirus, they don't even they feel like it's just a normal day in home quarantine. They don't feel anything because there's zero symptoms. This video is only like 2 minutes long, and I'm babbling for it for 8. This video is 8 minutes long.
You literally have no idea if you have it, and even less idea whether you can pass it on to someone else. I mean, we all feel bad about the fact that we can't go outside, that there's no E3 this year, that we can't even walk down a street without giving that COVID "are you infected" stare. A lot of us are out of a job, a lot of us are out of insurance, heck, even YouTubers at this point are seeing their ad rates.
A lot of YouTube creators just disclosed their declining AdSense rates amid the coronavirus pandemic. Those are down at least 20% with a few bright spots. That doesn't make sense. YouTube creators have declining ad revenue? That doesn't make sense. When people are in home quarantine, they are watching stuff, which is what YouTube is made for. But now that people are home quarantine, the AdSense rates are down. That doesn't make sense. That really doesn't make sense. My videos are getting better. I mean, my growth is gradually going up now. It's not like I'm staying at like 120 subscribers for a week. And actually, my subscribers actually goes up. So subscribe. Our goal is our goal is 1,000 subscribers in the year. After 1,000 subscribers at the end of the year. Can you guys do that, please? Can you please get 1,000 subscribers? Just go to that. Go and press that red subscribe button. Because if you don't, I'm gonna be very sad that you didn't contribute to the 166 subscribers I have.
It's plummeting. No joke, I'm really just making content to keep the channel functioning because I like you guys and because I want to have an excuse to continue paying our employees. This episode will honestly cost more to make than it will earn back in ad revenue. So if we all just want to get back to work, get back to our friends, or just get back to the mall, we need to wipe this out now by staying at home and supporting the people who are at risk. And when you do go out, make sure you wear a mask. I recently had a call with Andy Slavitt, the former head of Medicare and Medicaid during the Obama administration, and he said that if 80% of people wore masks out in public, it would kill this thing in a matter of weeks.
If 80% were masks. So, what is the percentage of people that actually wear masks? They probably can't have a statistic on that because you don't track every person. Have you worn a mask when you're going to the mall? Did you wear a mask when you went to the grocery store? Really 80%. I thought 80% of people wore face masks in the US, but nah, really? No? Really? That doesn't make sense. What is the percentage? If you can actually have a statistic, what is the percentage of people that wear face masks in public now? I don't know. We're probably never gonna know.
He also said that by staying at home, you are saving 41 lives. It's a matter of going out, unintentionally spreading it, and then those people going out and infecting others, and then a 1% fatality rate. So anyway, it is not every day that you can save an entire football team's worth of people by staying at home or wearing a facial mask, so just do it, guys. Alright, dark and stormy PSA over. It's also important to remember that it's okay to laugh. It's even okay to make fun of ourselves in this craziness for a bit. And that's why today, we're seeing how the video game world dealt with its own pandemic. Not to make light of anything happening in the world right now, but to talk about a pretty fascinating moment in gaming history and honestly an opportunity that humanity missed that would have allowed us to be more prepared for this exact type of situation.
Really?
We didn't listen!
Because here's the thing, World of Warcraft could have helped prevent COVID-19. Seriously, it's not a joke. It's barely even an exaggeration. It
sounds like a joke. It definitely sounds like a joke. What happened here? What is this map? That map is probably a long time ago. Because China is still bubbling right here, but they've been containing it. The US is like, not really anything. Just a lot of bubble here in New York and some bubble here. Really? And then whole of Europe just blah. A lot of bubbles. So many bubbles. We don't want the bubbles. We definitely don't want the bubbles.
Did prevent this massive pandemic, but humanity just dropped the ball on it. So strap in for a fascinating story, pay attention for the message so we don't make the same mistake again, and if nothing else, maybe this episode will inspire you to play something other than Animal Crossing for—
Yeah, everybody's playing Animal Crossing. I don't know why, and I'm never gonna play it because I don't have a Nintendo Switch. But even PewDiePie is playing Animal Crossing. We never knew this day would come, but even the biggest, the most subscribed YouTuber in the world is playing Animal Crossing. Yeah.
for an hour. You're developing some uncomfortably close relationships with Tom Nook there, my friends. Don't think I don't see you. Besides trying to avoid the staggering lag notorious in major cities like Ironforge, vanilla World of Warcraft players wouldn't think that they would need to worry about social distancing. But believe it or not, back in 2005, there was absolutely a real pandemic in the World of Warcraft. One that looks scarily familiar to the situation that we currently find ourselves in today. This is the story of World of Warcraft's corrupted blood plague. Back in September of 2005, less than a year after the game first—
2005. That was— World of Warcraft has been around for a long time now, a long time.
Launched, WoW added the Zul'Gurub raid, a 20-person team mission recommended for players around level 60, ending with a battle against a big boss named Hakar the Soulflare, who, besides having a Game of Thrones level awesome name, could inflict players with a debuff, the health effect called Corrupted Blood. Now, Corrupted Blood did a few things. It inflicted around 250 to 300 points of damage to your player every few seconds. Sounds pretty bad, right? But remember, this was a raid recommended for players around level 60. 60, the level cap at the time, so your typical health pool was sitting around 4,000 to 5,000 HP. It would suck, sure, and you would have to maintain regular healing, but it wasn't going to kill you unless you were irresponsible. The debuff would eventually go away if you waited long enough, but the catch was that while you were standing around waiting for it to wear off, it was contagious. Standing next to an infected player could cause your character to become infected as well. Now, at this point, you're either thinking, why the heck would game devs make anything in-game contagious, or, wow, what a cool mechanic. The results of Corrupted Blood, though, are somewhere in the middle. The virus, this debuff, was only intended to exist within the confines of the ZG raid, so it would create a problem for the players in the middle of the fight as they figured out ways to manage their draining health, and then also not transmitting it to their teammates while still dealing damage to the boss, but it would disappear once players exited the dungeon. All should have been functioning normally, right?
That's a very, very hard game to play because you gotta make sure that you defeat the boss, but your health is going down, and you can't affect any other players because they're gonna be pissed off at you, and you need to wear it off. But you might get close to other players, not practicing social distancing, and they're gonna get pissed off at you, and they're gonna talk trash. Is that right?
Except the development team made one major oversight. Players weren't the only thing exiting the dungeon. Animals were leaving the area too, and the program didn't wipe it from them when they left. For those who don't know, in WoW, the hunter class is allowed to use a tamed pet in combat. Pets who are contracting corrupted blood during the battle just like the players, except, unlike the players, the pet would still be infected when summoned again outside of the raid. And so, what happens then? Well, the pet's owner immediately gets infected. Except now, that player is out of the dungeon and out in public. Just like COVID-19 is thought to have originated in bats, corrupted blood can also be classified as a zoonotic virus, a virus that originates in animals and then gets passed to humans. Out in public, anyone close to those infected players would themselves contract corrupted blood. Anyone the player is playing with, standing next to, fighting, literally anything. Corrupted blood was carried by the likes of a couple of hunters.
Yeah, so corrupted blood is just coronavirus in World War. I mean, what is? I don't know what I'm talking about, but the corrupted blood is just a virus, just like any other virus, right? Am I right? I mean, coronavirus is not just like any other virus, definitely not. But yeah, it seems pretty similar. Pretty similar, right?
There's cats or dinosaurs or crocolisks moving from player to player until finally it even infected the game's NPCs. Now, it's important to note that the raid doling out
the game's NPCs. Now, that's a problem, WoW developers. That's a problem.
This virus was accessible to both Alliance and Horde players, and it sat in one of the biggest neutral zones on the map. This meant that every player in every faction was at risk for infection. The NPCs ensured that the virus was carried across enemy lines, acting as asymptomatic carriers, having the debuff but not showing any outward signs of their infection, and obviously not complaining about it because they weren't real players. Standing in prominent places ready to interact with players, they were invisible vectors, spreading and re-spreading the virus across at least 3 servers and up to 2 million players. But what's the big deal, right? I mentioned earlier that this thing wasn't that big of a risk. It takes down health quickly, but not so quickly that it's an immediate death sentence. Except, those were high-level players in the raid that were intended to get infected. Sure, for a player at level 60, the max level cap for that time in the game's history, it was annoying. For a player at lower levels though, levels 10, 20, heck, sometimes even at level 40, suddenly it becomes immediately deadly. Players might find themselves dead due to damage over time before they even realize what's happening. In another crazy parallel to the situation that we currently find ourselves in, the corrupted blood effect didn't impact all people equally. Like the exact scenario where now healthy people with no issues might have no symptoms or just experience a day of feeling a little under the weather. Individuals with health compromises though, like the elderly, the very young, people not currently at their...
Is that old Chris... oh no. I can't speak. I don't know why I can't speak. But is that old Captain America? Isn't that right? I'm pretty sure that's old Captain America. It was like Endgame like a year ago. Endgame was a year ago. Endgame was a year ago. Yeah. I remember just after every single morning when I'd wake up, I'd look at the highest grossing movies of all time. And I'd see if Avengers Endgame got to the top and beat Avatar. Well, it never happened when I was actually checking it because I just lost hope. And then they overtook Avatar when I lost hope. Come on, I wanted to see it live when I'm pretty sure like Endgame was re-released because they wanted to beat Avatar, which is, yeah, I would do that. And yeah, they beat Avatar, and it was a happy moment for me.
Max level, so to speak, they're suddenly struck out of nowhere, through no fault of their own, with something that could very easily be fatal. As for high-level players coming into contact with low-level players, this happened in WoW in the exact same places it happens in the real world. Major cities, places where all players were constantly visiting shops, doing business, socializing. Suddenly, they were hotbeds for the corrupted blood virus. It spread so quickly that it became almost impossible to avoid, driving players out of major cities in the game, just like the wealthy New Yorkers who packed their bags and headed out for the Hamptons to avoid the current pandemic. The corrupted blood plague spread quick.
Yeah, the New Yorkers they're not having a good time because they have. If New York was a state, it would be the second most coronavirus cases in a country ever, because it'd be second to the U.S. The state of New York has more coronavirus cases than Spain. It probably has more coronavirus cases than like every single country combined. Probably not, but yeah, you know what I mean. New Yorkers are heading out of there because they don't want to get infected with the coronavirus.
In densely populated areas, just like the current virus hit major cities in China, before jumping to other hotly touristed areas in Italy, the US, UK, and so on. Players who died in the game's major cities might not even be able to avoid getting it again when they respawn. They might not be able to get out and leave before their health pool depleted again. Meanwhile, slightly higher level players might have made it out of the cities, but then they only infected players in smaller towns. In one really touching parallel to our current situation, some WoW players acted as altruistic healers, trying to heal other players long enough for them to stave off the effects of the plague. But then these would-be doctors placed themselves in danger of becoming infected, often catching the corrupted blood for themselves. Again, this strikes surprisingly close to home, where people
Yeah, where doctors are getting infected. They are curing other people, but they can't cure themselves because they're busy curing other people. But like in a snap of a finger, you have the coronavirus. The coronavirus is quickly spreading.
who work in the medical profession and come into direct contact with infected people are themselves one of the groups at greatest risk of infection. For days, the streets of World of Warcraft's biggest cities were strewn with skeletons, the remains of characters who had been wiped out by this plague. The disruption to gameplay was so—
Actually, please guys, if you're still watching this, leave video ideas in the comments. It doesn't really need to be reaction videos, but anything, because, yeah, like, a lot of people are commenting on my videos. Please comment video ideas, because I'm running out of them, and my reactions aren't sufficient. So, do video ideas in the comments, maybe some things that you want me to react to, just anything, because this channel is not very consistent in its uploading, but yeah, it's not very consistent in its uploading. So if you want more videos, please leave video ideas in the comments. It doesn't really need to be reactions, but just anything, and some reactions would be good too, but you know, anything, any video ideas that you think that I could do, that I have a possibility to do, please put it down in the comments.
so serious that it caused WoW to gain attention outside of the game, with Reuters reporting on the situation in the game like this. Quote, dealing with thousands of complaints from players whose online alter egos have fallen victim to the plague, Blizzard Entertainment tried to quarantine the infected zones, but as is likely in real life, the barriers were porous, and some infected victims managed to find their way into safe areas. In a matter of days, millions of player deaths were attributed to the corrupted blood, spread from just a few of the high-level players able to access that endgame raid. Blizzard eventually stepped in to fix the game and prevent the corrupted blood debuff from spreading outside the raid area, seemingly the only part of our story that differs from real life, because unfortunately fixing problems in the real world isn't as simple as just releasing a new patch or resetting a server. And thus ends the story of the corrupted blood plague. But what's possibly even more fascinating than the event itself is the aftermath of the event in the real world. According to World of Warcraft producer Shane DeBeery, quote, we got calls from the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, saying, hey, what's all this?
The CDC. The CDC got calls from the CDC with this virus in World of Warcraft.
About the disease in your game. We want to look at the simulation data. It might help us in a real world situation. We kept saying, no, it's just a bug. We fixed it, it's just a game. The corrupted blood.
Well, the CDC was right. They could have gotten that information to prevent this coronavirus. But the WoW producers insisted that they just said it's just a game. But you know that's probably gonna happen in real life. I'm pretty sure like 17, 20, 18, 20, 19, 20, and 2020 all had big plague outbreaks. So, what is gonna happen in 2120? I don't know, I'm probably not gonna be alive then, but if anyone from 2120 that is watching this, is there any diseases that's happening? Because if there are, yeah, it's gonna be bad. It's the bad luck of the 20s.
The incident may have been the result of a bug, but it continued to attract the attention of real-world researchers. In March 2007, Randy Balisser, an epidemiologist physician at the Ben Gurion University in Israel, published an article in the journal Epidemiology that described the similarities between this game outbreak and the recent SARS and avian influenza outbreaks. According to him, role-playing games could serve as an advanced platform for modeling the dissemination of infectious diseases. In a follow-up article in the very highly regarded Science journal, the game's Second Life was also suggested as another possible platform for these sorts of studies, and that's as far as it went. In August of 2007, Nina...
Because, yeah, it's just a game. They think, oh, it's just a game. No one, it's not gonna happen. What do you think? It's just a game. It's not gonna happen in real life. Nothing's gonna happen. Alright, it's just a game. It's just fake. It's not reality. It's not anything that you'd expect it to be. It's not real. It's just a game. Just slow down there, CDC. It's just a game, and we don't want any interference. It's just a bug. We fixed it. Everything's good. But the CDC was right. The CDC was right.
Pfefferman, a Tufts University assistant research professor of public health and family medicine, also noted the corrupted blood's resemblance with biological plagues. While she acknowledged that video game behavior in a virtual environment won't necessarily mirror real-world behavior, she compared the World of Warcraft incident to a drug trial with mice, saying this, "It was a real good first step. These are my mice, and I want this to be my new experiment setup." End quote. Maybe the only time that gamers would be happy to be compared with lab mice. I'm all in.
Ninja, like, who is this? No, I forget. I'm not a gamer if I don't know who this is. There's like part of it. Who? They have like game in their name, right? I don't know. The NTDM and Markiplier. But it's at the tip of my tongue, but I can't figure out who it is. They like collab with NTDM or something. No, not NTDM, like Jacksepticeye or something, or like Jaden Animations. It's like, Is his name like Aaron? I don't know.
Just call me Mousepat. What's interesting about Nina Pfefferman's call for research is that she pointed out an important observation. A virus almost doesn't matter as much as the way the people treat it. What matters is the behavior of players, specifically how they evaluate risk, how rumors spread about a virus, and how public health notices would be handled, and how people react to them. In fact, listening to what Nina Pfefferman had to say about corrupted blood and its applications to real-world pandemics is almost prophetic in light of recent events.
When it actually happens, a lot of people have the emotional response of, you know what, I'm gonna guess it's gonna be okay, I'm gonna try and stick it out.
People tell themselves,
Yeah, she was absolutely correct about that. She was absolutely correct about that. People have the
Emotional response of, you know what, I'm gonna...
Yeah, people have the response of, alright, this is gonna be okay, this is gonna be fine, it's just a little problem, nothing's gonna happen. Well, a lot of things happened.
Yes, it's gonna be okay, I'm gonna try and stick it out.
people tell themselves that everything's going to be okay without needing to go into lockdown, even as the facts of the situation and everything we know about how viral infection spreads tells us that now is the time to minimize contact with other people.
If I get corona, I get corona. At the end of the day, I'm not going to let it stop me from partying.
It turns out
If I get corona, I get corona. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna stop partying. What is your IQ? What? Are you stupid? Are you delusional? Did you drink too much Corona beer? I'm pretty sure you did. Because there's no way you're gonna actually say that. Did you drink too much Corona beer? Because the only way you're gonna say the only time you're gonna say that, if you drink too much Corona beer. He was probably drunk of Corona. Yeah.
the behavior of many World of Warcraft players during the corrupted blood plague wasn't what some people would have called rational. While you had people trying to help, staying out of the cities, curing people, you also had looky-loos, people who flocked to the major cities because they just had to see it for themselves. Remember, this was way back in 2005, in the olden days before Twitch and YouTube live streaming. The only way to believe it was to go there and see it for yourself, and now, whoops, you're infected too. Then you had yourself the griefers.
Oh, did he just say Twitch? What did he say?
Days before Twitch and YouTube live.
Twitch. Down in the description below. Yeah. Go on my Twitch. Follow my Twitch. Watch my live streams. I'm gonna do live streaming, man, on Twitch. Link is down in the description below. Alright?
Streaming. The only way to believe it was to go there and see it for yourself, and now, whoops, you're infected too. Then you had yourself the griefers, the people who would intentionally spread the plague and try to use it to kill low-level players. Obviously, how people behave in a video game isn't going to be representative of how they'd behave in real life, right? I mean, nobody would go into public intentionally coughing on people's food to try and make them sick, right?
Woman who coughed on $35,000 worth of grocery store food charged with 4 felonies. Yeah, she should be in jail. Why would you intentionally cough on $35,000 worth of grocery store food? That food can feed a lot of people. A lot of people. But now that they coughed on it, it's not safe to actually eat it because you coughed on it. And you know what's gonna happen to you. You're gonna get in jail.
Ugh. Humanity's the worst sometimes. The upshot of all of this is that even though we think people behave more recklessly in a video game than in real life, our assumptions might not be as far off as we think. And games might have more to contribute to epidemiological models than we realize. Luckily, we might not be the only ones starting to realize this either. Last month, an article came out that prominent infectious disease epidemiologist and World of Warcraft player Dr. Eric
There's been a person that is an infectious disease epidemiologist and is also a WoW player. Wow. You get it? Because no one probably laughed at my joke. Yeah, it's not funny.
Lofgren is revisiting the parallels between vanilla WoW's corrupted blood and our current global outbreak. He works at the University of Washington, in one of the hardest hit states in the US for this epidemic, and he
One of the 11,000 is a lot, but gotta give it to New York for getting really infected. Yeah.
he's spoken out about how his time
I'm
playing
pretty sure it was Washington where the first person with the coronavirus in the US landed. Where the first person with the coronavirus in the US was, right? Washington. I'm pretty sure he's dead. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the first state to be hit.
WoW has influenced his work in epidemiology. Quote from him: "For me, it was a good illustration of how important it is to understand people's behaviors, when people react to public health emergencies, and how those reactions really shape the course of things. We often view epidemics as these things that sort of happen to people. There's a virus and it's doing things, but really it's a virus that's spreading between people, and how people interact and behave and comply with authority figures, or don't. Those are all very important things." End quote. He's among those who've been suggesting that Blizzard should actually bring back the corrupted blood virus in order to better understand its spread and how
Did they do that? Probably not. I mean, it's Blizzard Entertainment, man.
players behave in the midst of a pandemic. With attention now coming from major news outlets suggesting that WoW could be a valuable research tool, you never know what might be coming down the WoW patch pipeline and the role gamers might have to play in understanding and beating the biggest viruses of our lifetime. So the message today is this: know that the games you're playing are bigger than you. And man, if Corrupted Blood comes back in vanilla WoW, get ready to sign up for whatever free trial Blizzard has going on right now, not just because it's fun to play a game.
I mean, WoW is a dead game. It's a dead game. No one is playing it anymore. Who is playing WoW in 2020? Absolutely no one. So, if you bring back the Corrupted Blood, maybe you're actually gonna get some people to play some World of Warcraft. Wasn't it like deleted or something? I don't know, is World of Warcraft still a game? I don't know. I'm not an OG gamer. Only OG gamers know if World of Warcraft is still a game. Because I don't know. I'm playing some Fortnite out here on my second channel and on my Twitch. Link is down in the description below. Yeah. Plugs, plugs, plugs.
But because it'll be important for science. It'll be important for learning how to prevent these sorts of global health disasters in the future. And heck, because grinding to become a level 60 Night Elf Hunter is a nice break from grinding tens of thousands of bells to pay off a raccoon landlord. But hey, that's just
Removing your mask after a 4-month quarantine.
a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
So yeah, do everything I said in the intro, because if you don't, I'm gonna be very sad. And you don't know how to follow directions, but you still have time to redeem yourself. So yeah, go on to the description down below and do all those things I said in the intro. I got bars. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and of course, peace out, peace. Oh my, I just messed up my intro for the first time in 2 years. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and of course, peace out, peace.